Welcome to ServiceNow ticketing system training. This is the second part. If you missed the first part, it's going to come up right over here. It's very important to know ServiceNow because most of the companies actually do use ServiceNow for ticketing system. By the way, this ticketing system that I'm going to show you in this video is a developer system that I can actually give you access to. So if you want to take a look around, let me know in the comment below and I'll give you access so you can look around or follow along. Either way is fine by me. All right, before we start, please do me a favor in the comment below, say hello, hi, or present, sort of like in the classroom roll call type of thing. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. All right, let's get into it. We're going to pick some of these random tickets that are within the ServiceNow system, and this is how we're going to learn about ServiceNow. The way you get to this is through the left side menu, and on the left side you would basically see an option under incidents and select open and unassigned. So that means that these are issues that haven't been worked on when it comes to the ServiceNow ticketing system. So yeah, let's say you just got hired to work for help desk or some kind of tech support and you're working on a ServiceNow system, which by the way, there's a really high chance that it would be a ServiceNow system because majority companies use ServiceNow, but it would be under incidents and then open unassigned. At the same time, you can search in the left box for incidents and open unassigned. And these would be unassigned for your group, specifically for your group. So that's good. All right. So we're going to click on this one here, and we're going to start off with the classic one. It says issue with email, and it says locked out. And this is from Richard Cameron. And if we scroll down, we can see some details if there are any. We can see that this ticket was assigned to our group immediately. So this didn't go to different groups or anything like that. Otherwise, it would be here under activities. So if you look under the activities, it would say if it was reassigned or assigned to your team, your group, or whether it even went through help desk. Again, if you happen to be help desk, this is how it would look like. Now, keep in mind, companies will adjust ServiceNow to look slightly different from what it looks here, but 99% of the time it would look exactly the same. It would function the same, except there might be some other custom features that were done for that company. So for those reasons, I just wanted to let you know this. Anyways, so we've got Richard Cameron. It says locked out, issue with email, right? So if he's getting a message that he's locked out, then of course we're going to look at his account immediately. So for those reasons, we're going to go to Actor Directory, and if Richard is not there, we're going to have to add him in there so we can show you exactly what's going on. All right, so here is our Actor Directory, and we're going to go to the users. So again, if you're not familiar with this, it's called Actor Directory Users and Computers. So if you have access to admin tools or access to the server itself, if you're working help desk, you won't have access to the server, but you would be able to have access to Windows administrative tools, which are installed on your computer that you're using. And for those reasons, you would just look down here. It says Actor Directory Users and Computers, and you would open it and it would look similar to this, except it would be customized for your company. You would have a bunch of things in here that are going to be based off the company preferences, right? How the company is set up. But generally speaking, when you're searching for somebody's login ID, you would right click the domain that you have access to, select find, right? So this will search the entire domain. Otherwise, you can specify in here which part of the domain you want to search. If there are multiple domains, you can switch to a different domain and this and that. Anyways, this ticket is about ServiceNow, so I'm going to keep going and make sure that user contacts and groups are selected here so you're not searching for computers or something else, otherwise you won't be able to find. So we're going to look for Richard. I want to say Cameroon. I think that was his name. There won't be anything because the tickets that we're looking at here, these are just example tickets for the ServiceNow system. Anyways, so it's Cameron Richard. So it's 1-0. And we're going to just have to create him, but just to prove to you, this is how you would search. There is nothing in there. That's okay. For the sake of tutorial, we're going to create him real quick. So right click. We're going to go to users, right click the users folder or whatever it is for your company. If you don't know, ask your senior analyst, senior coworker, or your manager. We're going to select new user. We're going to I'm going to say Richard is his first name, but it could be Cameron too, but it doesn't matter in this tutorial. And we're going to give him Richard C as his logon name. All right, so that's that. We're going to click next. We're going to set his password. And we're just going to leave it here. User must change the password next login. That's fine. Richard can't because not, okay. So what that was telling me is that I need to make the password more complex. All right, finish. All right, now when we go in, we can search for Richard, Cameron, Richard, Cameron, and there he is. So we're going to right click him here, and then from here we can, if we're resetting the password, we can do this. We can just double click on him so we can see the properties. But if you go to the account here, and this is where we want to look for, it says unlock account. This would be normally like a message, big message here. If the account is locked, it would say account has been locked for blah 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 blah. It doesn't matter. It would be a big banner here. It says that the account is locked, right? So how do you unlock it? Well, you guessed it right. We're going to check unlock account, apply, and then okay. And now we can go back to our system. We're going to talk to Richard. We're going to let him know that his account is unlocked to try again. And for the sake of this, we're going to pretend like this is what we've done. So we're going to resolve this incident. Their resolution information is here. In some companies, again, it might look slightly different where these menus are moved underneath, above, this and that, but it's the same type of tab, right? Or position or place where you would where the resolution information is, excuse me. All right, the resolution information is right here. So in this case, we're just gonna select a different code and we're going to say resolved by change, or whatever it is that the menu you have that is appropriate for your company that you're working with. Again, it's done the same. You just different codes, different menus. It's going to depend on the company. So we're going to say unlocked. I'm going to say users account tested with the user. It is working fine. So we're going to pretend like this has worked, right? This has worked. And I'm just going to resolve right away so that way the ticket goes away. Okay? And it's marked here resolved, but let me see here. We're going to click open unassigned, and it should have gone away. I'm sorry. Did I forget to assign the ticket to myself? I forgot to assign the ticket to myself. The help desk. Here we go. Irvin. Okay, so sorry, I forgot to assign it to myself. Very important. I should have assigned it to myself, so that way I can get credit for it, right? So you can get credit for your work. Very, very, very important. Okay. So we're going to continue, and let's pick this here. Let's again take it to myself. So once you do it once, it should auto-populate for you. And I'm going to just click update. And after that, just so you know, you can go back to the incidents on the left menu here where it says incident, right? And then you just click assign to me, and now you know where that is. So remember, we just picked this ticket up. It's assigned to me, and I can always go back to it and I can work on it. I can just keep working. So this ticket is about, it's from Mike Husey. And it says the internet is down on the laptop and websites are not working. So we're going to get a hold of the customer, and we're going to talk to them and see what's going on exactly, get a little bit more information, and we're going to see why the internet is not working, why the websites are not working. So what could this be? Well, there are many things that could cause this, right? The obvious one is that they are not connected to the internet, whether it's physically plugged in to their internet or whether it's over Wi-Fi. We're going to have to find this out, and we're going to have to troubleshoot this with them and figure out why this is happening. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pretend that we're actually doing this. Of course, these are fictional tickets, and we're going to just pretend that we are doing this. And for those reasons, I'm just going to leave a note in this time. So this is a work note. When you scroll down here on the same ticket and you add a work note, that means that you are working on it, right? But when it comes to that, you have to make sure that the state of it or what's going on with the ticket right now is labeled as correctly. So if you look at the state level here, you have to make sure it's labeled as in, like, for example, in progress, on hold, and you got other options here too. In this case, we're going to leave it in progress. This should indicate to the system that we're working on it, and that means we're going to have certain amount of time to resolve the ticket before the statistics or the SLAs kick in. And we're going to talk about what SLAs mean. Means usually when it comes to that, it's related to how soon you complete the tickets. When it comes to priority and this and that, we're going to get back to this. So make sure that the state is set to this if you're still working with the customer or user. And I'm going to just put work notes here, and it says reached out to the user and had him reboot the computer and contact the internet service provider at this time. It appears that internet is not working over his Wi-Fi connection, right? So we're going to pretend that this is happening, but again, the point of this is to show you how to use ServiceNow, and we're going to leave it under work notes, right? And this is always labeled with a yellow highlight here. We're going to post this. So what is the difference between this and additional comments? Well, if I select additional comments here, you can see that this field changes. And it tells you right now, it says additional comment customer visible. So anybody can add these, like somebody else that's not working on the ticket as well. Well, same thing goes for the work notes as well. But the work notes are only visible to your colleagues that work with you in help desk, serve desk, or tech support, whatever it may be. If you leave a note in here, this will send an email to the customer or some kind of notification that whatever it is the comment is, right? So if you say, for example, I'm sorry, I could not reach out to you. Your phone is RNA, meaning ring no answer. Nobody's answering the phone. Please let me know if you still need assistance with this issue. You can reach me at XXXXXXXXXX, whatever your phone number is, your email address is, whatever it is that you have as a means of communication. Now, if you're working for help desk, then this may not be an option for you. This note is more for people who are just doing tech support, and they can hold on to these tickets for a longer time, right? So if you're help desk and you can't reach them, help desk usually just would forward the tickets to their local IT support for that person. Again, it just depends on how your company is set up. You're just going to have to ask one of your colleagues and your manager and how you go about this if the situation is I can't reach the customer, right? So yeah, it'll be a very, very, very situational thing. But in this case, this is we're going to pretend for the sake of showing what happens when you select additional comments. When you click post, this is going to send a notification or an email, usually an email to the user. And in this case, to Mike, it's going to send an email to Mike. It's telling him that you're not able to reach him. Again, whatever the situational issue is, you may populate in here and send them. So these are just means of communication and noting, right? This is just another means of communication and noting. Now, we can certainly forward this to the local help desk support. And for this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to remove myself as an assigned to, so you have to do this first. Otherwise, you won't be able to change this top field where it says assignment group. So I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to remove it from help desk, and I'm going to look for another group that's more appropriate. So let's imagine that I'm sending this to the local tech support. And again, if you're wondering why we're sending it to local tech support, is because we're pretending like this user actually goes to the location, and it's not necessarily just working from home, because there could be Wi-Fi at work. It could be, this and that. Usually help desk is the first place that people would call, even if it's like working for a company, right? So here's our local tech support assignment group. And for this, we're just going to select update. Now you may have an option to just select save, this and that. Again, these are different settings that different companies have. So you can have a save button, which is actually more useful. I don't have it here because I haven't designed this. I didn't have that much time to design the whole ticketing system with addition of that. So I'm just going to select update, and it's going to take us out of the ticket, but it will be sent to a different group. All right, they will be sent to a different group, and now they can take a look and take it from there. All right, and we can see that his ticket is still in the system because it's unassigned, right? We selected here on the left side, open unassigned. We can still see. Typically, you would only see unassigned tickets for your group. In this case, we're looking at all of the tickets in the entire system for all groups. So let's do one more. I'm going to pick this unable to access shared folder so we can continue with working this ServiceNow system. And notice here when I click assignment group that it memorizes the assignment groups that I've recently selected, right? So here's a local tech support, and that's okay. If we have to route to local tech support again, that's okay. We have a quick access to it. Again, we work for help desk in this scenario. I'm going to assign it to myself. Same thing if you are assigning ticket to somebody else, they would remain listed there as well. So it's added to me now. Well, I would have to click save or update. It's going to kick me out. I wish I had added that save button in there. Anyways, open, assign to me. Here we go. It says here that urgency here is set to medium. So what is this about? Well, it's literally what that is. How soon do we need to resolve this ticket, and how much of an impact it has? So if it's changed to medium, usually that means that we need to resolve this sooner, and you have a certain amount of time to resolve the ticket. So if it's at medium right now, that means you're going to have less time to resolve this in compared to, let's say, being low. So you're going to have less time if you're at medium, and this ties into the SLA, right? System level agreement. I believe the SLA, that's what it stands for, system or something like that. It doesn't matter what it is. It actually gives you the amount of time, how much time you are spending on resolving an issue. So I'm scrolling down. I've scrolled down all the way. And if we look at it, here it is. So here is the percentage of time elapsed. So this ticket is way past its time before anybody was able to resolve it. So this is a big problem. When it starts to get into red like this, usually, depends on the rule for your company. If you have two, let's say, I don't know, it depends how it's set up for a company, but let's say you have 12 hours to resolve this ticket, and 12 hours goes by, let's say 90% of it goes over a certain percentage, it starts to get into oranges and red color here, then that could be really bad. That means you are not resolving the ticket. Now this ticket was created in 2018, right? So this is what, 3 plus years, almost 4 years ago, right? So actually 4 years ago. When it comes down to this, this is way past the SLA. This is what the SLA metric is. It means how soon you've resolved this issue. All right, so you have to be very careful to keep it on this. Here it says here, there it is, SLA. And this is going to change depending on how much time you have. So this is going to change how much time you have to resolve the ticket depending on the urgency of it. And if we switch to, for example, high, right? So usually when it's set to high, that means you have couple hours to do something with a ticket. That means it has to be assigned to somebody. It has to be, the state of it has to be changed to something to indicate that you're actively working on it. But if you, for example, put it on hold, or if there are other options like waiting on evidence, waiting on this and that, then it will stop the SLA. It would stop the SLA. But if it's not assigned to somebody within, let's say it's a high ticket, which is high urgency, whatever it is the urgency is, that means that the SLA, if you don't put it, if you don't change its state and it's not assigned to somebody like here, then the SLA will keep going. So you have to make sure that the state is set to whatever it is that your company wants you to do. In this case, it's in progress. I'm just going to say update. So this should stop the SLA. Some companies require you to put in a note, and that's fine. In this case, we're going to say, I'm just going to say this. I'm going to take a look, right? Well, let me be more specific. I'm going to say reaching out to the user for assistance. So I'm going to say that, right? So I'm going to say that. I'm going to go back to this ticket, and we can check, unable to access shared folder. This was no big deal when this ticket came out. It's just that it's been 4 years since it came out. So of course it's, since this ticket was in the system. So we're just simply going to give them access if they're allowed to get access. You may have to check with somebody whether they're allowed to have access to these specific folders, this and that. So once you verify that they're allowed to gain access, it's simply just giving them access to that shared folder, whatever it may be. And just for references, I don't know, let's just find the folder. And, this may be simple as this, right? Here we go. Here's for this one. Here we go, security. That was the other one was a system folder, and I didn't have access to change it. Anyways, so if this, let's imagine that this folder is a shared folder where people are storing stuff. You would go in here and add, and then you would add this person in here to access. So David Miller, as long as they're part of the same domain, you would type in, David Miller, or I suggest, then you check names. It's not going to find them obviously because it's, fictitious, but you can also search by their login ID. So let's pretend it's David M. Check if it's on the same domain, it's going to find them, and you just click OK, and then you go in and, for example, just add full control or read, modify, whatever the permissions this person needs. All right, that's that. And I'm going to just resolve this ticket. I'm going to add a resolution information. So again, it's the tab over. I'm going to say granted access to the shared folder. Resolve, and the resolution code is, so I'm going to resolve by change, sure. Well, resolved by problem. So see, you're gonna get different menus in here. So whatever the proper code is, for resolution code is, you can leave it there. Resolved by whatever, it doesn't matter. Just ask the company you're working at what the resolution code is. These are all semantics, right? These are all semantics in the sense is, well, you know how to navigate ServiceNow, you know how to update and pick up tickets, work on tickets, this and that. It's just that these are organizational semantics, meaning that you're going to have to ask them, well, what do I use for here? And then you're just going to ask that once. It's not a technical issue. It's more of a navigational issue, right? And it's going to be different for every other place. Let me see what else I can talk about here. If there is anything that I've missed possibly. I'm just going to pick random ticket here. This is the one we looked at previously, and it's resolved. Oh yeah, so you can look up tickets that have been previously resolved. So I'm going to copy, here's the ticket number here. And I've talked about this type of stuff in previous videos. So that was the first video for the introduction of that. And if you want to check that out, it's linked on this video. So just like click on the right up here or something like that. But up here you can do search for tickets. So here, if you look for a ticket, you can see it comes up right here. So that's the exact match. You can view the results. And the purpose of this is so that way you can locate these tickets. For example, somebody calls you, says, hey, my issue hasn't been resolved. And you ask them, did you put in a ticket? They say, yeah. Well, what is your ticket? So you can look up their ticket and see what the problem is. You can also search by issues or people's names. So I'm going to type in, what was this guy's name? Um, Mike H. I forget his last name. And here it is, Mike Husey. So he comes up here. We can look for tickets for him specifically. If there's some specific information, like for example, computer name, you can look for that to see if an issue came up for that, and it will pull up a ticket. Anything you can think of, you can search for, and you can use this system as basically a knowledge base to see how those issues have been resolved or help you find certain information, this and that. It's a good place to search for things to help you resolve issues as well. So you can search previous tickets, not just by the ticket number, by also an issue. For example, say Wi-Fi. Let's just do Wi-Fi here. Let's see how many tickets come up for Wi-Fi. I only can see there are well, there are three issues and one task when in regards to Wi-Fi. All right, so let's talk about, let's see, another type of ticket before I forget, and that is a change ticket. These are usually done by sysadmins or maybe local IT. And here it is. If you go to your left menu and you go to, instead of incidents, go to change right here, you can create new change ticket. What this means is that some kind of a big change that's going to basically affect the current infrastructure of what's currently in place. So let's say you are changing a MAC address on a network device. You're replacing a network device, and you would create a change ticket. So that way it needs to be approved that you can do this, and that it for tracking purposes as well, so that people are aware. So if something breaks tomorrow and they see that it's some kind of a network issue, they can go back to those change tickets. People can view those change tickets, and they can see if there was a change that happened that maybe caused this problem the next day, right? So it's very important. Now, depending on the company, and this can be also done by local tech support. Usually, help desk people won't do the change tickets. Again, depends on the company. I know I keep saying this a lot. It just depends on the environment. But sysadmins, network admins, sys security, local tech support may put in these tickets to keep track of things that they're changing. And the rules on that are flexible. Some people want to change tickets for everything, any major thing. Let's say you just change a computer, swap a computer, you may want to put in a change ticket. That could be a valid change ticket as well. Depends how important this is. Do we want change tickets for everything that we do that's a major change? You're going to have to talk to your manager about that when it comes to figure out which ticket. So let's get into this. Let's see an example of this. Let me just find a ticket in here that requires a change. There are a couple of different ways. You can create a new change ticket, or you can change a ticket, create a ticket that's based off of a current ticket that's happening. So this is a good opportunity here. It says from David Miller, here is a critical priority ticket. We're going to click on it. Of course, make sure it's assigned to you, that you worked the ticket. You're the one who worked on this issue, right? You're the one who happened to be working on this issue. So make sure that that's the ticket that you're doing it on typically, right? So in this case here it says employee payroll application server is down, this and that. Regardless to what this issue is, but it's a good example, we're going to say that we're going to pretend like we've made some changes to the server, to fix this application error, right? And for those reasons, we're going to create a change ticket to keep track of this. So while the ticket is open, you can create a ticket on top of this that will use this ticket as a base for it to basically, so it's tied together, right? You have another ticket for the change that's happening, and then you're basing it off of this ticket. And here it is. We're just going to simply click right where it says incident. We're going to click on this here, and we're going to create a normal change, right? Create normal change. And you can see that there are other options here for other different things that might be in the future videos. We can talk about this depending on how popular this video comes out to be honest, right? Because I have lots of requests, people asking me all kinds of different tutorials to create all kinds of different tutorials, and which is great. It gives me lots of ideas, but I'm going to prioritize the ones that are the most popular for obvious reasons, right? So here it is. Again, so we've clicked on the little, what looks like a hamburger icon, and we're going to create a normal change. So this is going to come up and going to help us create this change ticket that's going to be based from that ticket. And you can see here, normal change ticket created from this other ticket, right? So it's directly related to that. So we're going to just fill this out. We're going to say, it depends what it is. We can say new, and we're assessed or canceled. It depends on the situation, but we're going to leave it at new because it's going to be a new request that needs to be approved. And we can fill this out. It's going to be different. I highly suggest that you ask your co-workers, your manager to help you out, fill this out for the first time. Okay, but I'm going to fill some things out here. So I'm going to server, let me see. I'm going to, server administration. So I'm going to use this here as a configuration item. I'm going to assign it to me, so that way I get credit for it. So I'm going to do help desk, right? In this case, we're doing the help desk, and I'm going to assign it to Irvin D, right? And we're going to fill all this out. Again, ask your coworker to help you out. So this is brought over from the previous ticket, so this helps you out. Otherwise, you're going to have to manually fill all this out, right? We're going to have to manually fill this out. But since we're piggybacking off the other ticket, it's filled out automatically for you. So, and then you fill out this part of it here where it says justification, server needs to be updated. So we're going to pretend that it's that. And I'm going to just copy this. And for the implementation plan here, I'm going to say server needs to be updated, or you can say I'm updating server, whatever it is. Just be descriptive as much as possible. Let's see, risk and impact analysis. Server will be down for at least 1 hour. Backout plan, I'm going to say roll back to previous settings for backout. So you got to have a backout plan if it's a big issue like this. And I'm going to test plan, well, whatever the test plan is, I'm going to say, in this case, I mean, it's a server, right? Let's pretend we're going to do this. Testing on a sandbox server first. Now, you may not have this option. We're just pretending this. Sandbox meaning we're going to test it on a server that's outside of production. And I'm going to leave it at that. So we're pretty much, we're pretty much done with this. If we're done when it comes to, if we've completed it, we would go to the closure information. We're going to close it, as in successful or unsuccessful or whatnot, whatever the issue is. This is just the planning part of it. Now this should just let me go through. It just depends on how the system is set up. I forget. Again, it's different for everything else. So I'm just going to click request approval. You can do this up here, or you can do it down here. Let's just do it down here because we've already filled this out. So we're going to request approval, and your manager or whoever is going to have to approve this before it's implemented. All right, so let's go to our left menu here, and here's under change. We can create a new one. So you can create a change ticket without having other ticket. So you can do this as well, right? I must have not set this part of up. Come on, create new. Yeah, well, I'm sorry. This normally, it would have gotten to the same menu. It's just that you would have to manually set this up. So this is the part of this ServiceNow system that I haven't created in there, and I apologize for that. But it would have been the same looking as the one we just looked at now, except it wouldn't be auto-populated and it wouldn't be tied. It would not be tied. It would be standing on its own. So, yeah, sorry about that. All right, well, I guess I'll leave it at that. Let me know if you like this video and if you want me to talk about other things related to ServiceNow, or do you just want me to make some help desk or some of these tickets that are in the system? So if we go back to the incidents and I'll open unassigned, if you want me to work on any of these tickets, I can certainly do this. So for the next video or future video, let me know. Okay, I hope you have a wonderful day and take care. Bye bye.